Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Just a super quick intro this time around, as today's episode is the start of a brand new storyline. We're going to be playing Things from the Flood from Modiphius Games, which is a brand new system for us. So I just wanted to put a quick heads up right here at the top. Just to expect that we'll probably mess up a couple of rules here and there throughout the storyline. There's not a whole lot of dice rolling in this first episode, but it was the first time playing the Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood system for all of us, including myself. So I guess just consider this a warning for all you kind of rules lawyers out there. Alright, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this intro. So let's get into today's episode. Enjoy. Okay, hey everybody. Today we are playing Things from the Flood from Modiphius and Free League. This is a brand new group for this story, although you will have heard all these voices before. So why don't each of you go ahead and introduce yourself and the character that you're going to play.
Hello, I am Dragon. You can usually find me on Penance RPG. But today I am playing a 15-year-old called Hazel Springs. She is a seeker. Her favourite music is mostly that by Alice Cooper. And she is convinced that something terrible is happening, but nobody else seems to notice that it's coming.
Hi, I'm Lexa. You can find me on the Dead Horse podcast and this podcast and Penance. I'm playing 16-year-old Sora. Didn't think of a surname. She's a tomboy. And that's it.
Cool. And listeners might have heard you, like, right before this playing Marie on our sort of short run D&D pirate adventure. And finally, you've heard him on a lot of things. It's Eden.
Hello, I'm Eden. You've probably gotten sick to death of my voice on this podcast by now. I'm playing Antony Rober. He's a 16-year-old jock, and he has no limits. I'll leave it at that.
Cool. Okay, well, let's jump into our story then. Welcome back to Twynham-on-Sea, a small seaside town on the south coast of England with a dark past. In the early 1930s, amid some far-fetched claims of monster sightings, a series of gruesome murders shook the town. It is now 1994, Wednesday, June 22nd to be exact. The intervening 60 years has seen the construction of the nearby Wessex reactor complex and its accompanying loop, and the growth just along the coast of the small village of Sci-Fi into a competing town. The technological revolution brought on by the loops has faltered, however, and the brighter tomorrow offered through technology seems less and less likely, and many of the shining robots of yesteryear now lie rusting. The Wessex Loop, once state-owned and operated, is now in the hands of the mysterious BCP Corporation, whose motivations are unclear. Many who worked there previously have lost their jobs, although the glow of the cooling towers is no less prominent on the horizon. In the wider world, it is an eventful time. Nelson Mandela has just been sworn in as the first democratically elected president of South Africa. The releases of Disney's The Lion King and the Sega Saturn are only weeks away. Wet Wet Wet's Love Is All Around is at the top of the charts, and by pure coincidence, Kurt Cobain is dead by an alleged suicide. World Cup 94 has just kicked off in the United States with no British teams qualifying, and only days before our story, O.J. Simpson was on the run from the police in a white SUV. Life in Twynham-on-Sea, however, has continued much as it always has. quietly, but with an unsettled and unexplainable air of something unnatural afoot in the town. The three of you, Hazel, Antony and Sora, are students at Wickfield Secondary School, close to the heart of the town. So, it is a school day. It is a Wednesday. It's getting towards the end of the summer term. Not quite there yet, though. It's daytime as well, so you're at school. Antony, you're playing a jock.
Mm-hmm.
Football, your thing. Would you say you spend a lot of time on the sports pitches?
Absolutely, yeah. Anthony's situation is that he's very, very much pressured to be constantly working, whether it's physically or mentally. So if he's not out there playing sports, then he's inside studying somewhere.
Okay, so maybe it's a sunny afternoon. It's June, so maybe you're out. It's lunch break, but rather than hitting the books, you're hitting the pitch. Mm-hmm. Getting in some extra football practice. Okay. Would you say either the two of you, Hazel or Sora, was also kind of out in the fields, or what would you think?
Yeah, I'll be sitting down eating my lunch.
Yeah, just kind of watching the football practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hazel is outside because she likes nature, and she's possibly examining some plants.
Okay, just
a little bit more like you'd expect a much younger kid to be like pulling up bits of grass and looking at them and things.
Okay. Would you say kind of just as a sort of naturalist sort of eye, or more of like a scientific look, or are you just sort of checking out plants because plants are cool?
Closer to the naturalist side of it, but also looking to see if any of the plants that are within easy reach are ones that she thinks could do interesting things. Okay,
so a little bit of sort of like kind of herbalism, sort of like, oh, I could put that in some tea or something.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's start things off early then with some checks then, actually. I feel like, Sora, if you're just kind of eating your lunch and checking out the football players, I probably don't need to get a check from you.
I'm trying not to look like I'm perving on them, but
okay.
I am.
Maybe a sneak check then. Okay, so first check of the game, we'll go with that. Let's go with a body sneak check from you then. So this is again, listeners will know that we're making a habit of recording games that we haven't played before, so you might have to bear with us in terms of messing this up. The way Things from the Flood works, you have an attribute, which is one of four kind of attributes, and you combine that with a skill value to get the number of d6s that you roll, and to get a success, you need to roll 6 on one of those d6s. So you've rolled 4d6 for your body sneak roll. Not really your wheelhouse, would you say?
No, it's not. So I guess that means I might be slightly blushing.
Yeah, you're not being as sly at this.
Or my mouth's agape. As I'm just holding a sandwich beneath my mouth. I stare at the pot boys.
All right, okay. That's it's a failure on our first check of the game. Do you want to? I take it you don't want to do the re-roll thing on this. It's probably not the.
I don't think it's worth it.
It's probably not worth
comedy value.
No. Okay, so Antony, you're playing football. You're out there with or your friend Kev is the goalkeeper. There's a couple of other people there. The sports teacher, Mr. Brewster, is nowhere to be seen, but you are just kind of having a bit of a kick around on your lunch. There's another kid there called Matt. It's just sort of the three of you kind of kicking a ball around, really. Can I get a body move check from you, just to sort of see how good your football skills are, whether you're really wowing the crowd, shall we say?
That's 8d6.
8d6. Yeah, you got 5 in body, 3 in move. That's a pretty good roll. Three successes. 4 successes. That's pretty good. Okay, yeah, solid. That's some solid football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am sportsman incarnate.
The other thing I should be doing as well is telling you guys the difficulty of each time. So yeah, that was only normal difficulty. You only needed 1 success to do it, but you rolled 4. So yeah, you you put on a blinding display of kicking a ball around.
Yeah, I'm running it around the other guys. Obviously, Kev's in the goal, but the other guy that's trying to defend against the goal, I'm just walking around him, tapping it and kind of like smiling in that friendly kind of way of like, you can't even touch me.
Yeah. Okay, and Hazel, can I get I guess this would be a mind investigate check from you.
Okay.
So this is 4 in mind, 1 in investigate on your character.
5d6, yeah?
Yes, please. So yeah, you got 1 success. Yeah, you find a in your search as you're kind of it sort of on the edge of the kind of playing field. You find a quite healthily, well, actually a little larger than you were expecting, dandelion that you think you could make some tea with. But the size is a little abnormal. It's bigger than you would expect. Kind of growing on the side of a school pitch. And it wasn't here the previous day, but I'm sure that's nothing.
How interesting.
Oi, Hazel! I give her a little wave.
And I look up, startled. Hi.
Have you come to watch the Hot Boys?
I wasn't, but I guess I could.
Oh, my friend Matt told me to come because it might inspire them to be better if the cute girl was watching them.
Yeah, that's true.
As you watch, Antony is kind of running rings around Matt on the football pitch. So the inspiration doesn't seem to be getting across to Matt, at least.
Oh, bless. So I pick a couple of dandelion leaves and go and sit beside her.
Okay. So it's an hour or two later. You're counting down the minutes to the end of the day in class. You are in a music lesson.
Okay.
It's a series of kind of cheap keyboards around the side of the room. A lot of people are sort of kind of goofing around. The music teacher, Mrs. Tracy, is trying and failing to kind of keep order. Some people are dutifully sort of practicing the scales and exercises that she'd set you, but I'd say a good 2/3 of people are just sort of screwing off. So it's getting towards the end of the day, and at this moment, the headmaster walks into the classroom, kind of gives everybody a bit of a stern look, and gestures to the teacher. And Mrs. Tracy she looks a little bit sort of snowed under, we should say, with the the behaviour of everybody. But she comes over and he whispers something in her ear. She nods, and he leaves the room. There's a short pause, only about 20 seconds, and the bell rings for the end of the day. We will cut again to the three of you leaving the school gates. Your friend Kev, who's the goalkeeper, he's kind of ambling along behind, but you don't spend a lot of time with him outside of school, really. So he's just sort of there, and he sort of says to you, "Hey, you guys all going to the roller disco on Saturday?"
Oh, I don't know if I've really got time for that. I've got a lot of homework to do, and Dad's on my back right now.
Come on, it's just an evening.
Antony kind of like pulls a face, like he's very conflicted about this, and says, I'm going to see what I can do about it, but you know my dad.
Oh, come on, Antony. Remember we used to go to school discos and that together? It'd be like that. Yeah, exactly.
Hesitating and blushing perhaps a little bit. Antony's kind of like, yeah, no, I can remember, like, it's a long time ago and everything, back in first school and what have you. Like, I remember holding hands. And he kind of looks over furtively.
You used to love me in year 7, didn't you, Antony?
Love is a strong word.
And he used to follow me around in reception.
Recognizing that this is completely out of his control and desperately trying to grab a little bit back, he turns to Kev and says, "All right, yeah. Well, I'll let you know whether I can get to that roller thing. I'll see you both later." And he kind of rushes off towards the bike sheds to grab his push bike.
Mm-hmm. Okay, beating a hasty retreat then.
And then Sora turns to Hazel and she's like, "I guess he doesn't want to hold hands when we walk home from school anymore."
I think he might be a little bit scared and doesn't know how to respond.
Oh, I just like teasing him.
Well, you certainly seem to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Just as you've said that, Antony wheels back over. He's grabbed his push bike now and is kind of just rejoining the group briefly before, as he's stepping onto the bike and saying, "All right, well, I'll like I said, I'll be in touch. I'll let you know what's happening, and if my dad lets me out, then I'll see you on the weekend. But we'll see."
Hi, Antony.
And off you go, I take it.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. So, Hazel, at this point, you hear running footsteps behind you, and you look round, and your sister is running up to you. Mum said you're supposed to wait for me.
It's not my fault that you take forever to get out of class.
Still, we're not meant to walk home on our own.
Well, you've caught up with me now, so come on.
She doesn't sort of take your hand or anything. Okay, describe your sister. How much younger would you say she is from you? Hazel's 15.
Hazel's 15. Laurel is 12.
Okay. So maybe it's her first year at the secondary school.
Yeah, she's a first year. She's still a little bit... It might be the end of first year, but she's still a bit uncertain.
Okay.
And is quite clingy with Hazel.
Right, okay. Yeah. Okay, so she sort of sticks quite close to your side as you're leaving the school grounds. So you're sort of heading off in one direction with your sister. Would you... I'll kind of leave it a little bit up to you guys, kind of where you want to be sort of living in the town, really.
Hazel and Laurel live in between the school and the train station.
Okay, so sort of a little bit to the north. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sora, whereabouts would you say you're living in town?
I'll be near the school somewhere, like a couple of roads away.
Okay, so maybe a little bit just sort of to the in between the where the school is and the priory is sort of one of those sort of little back roady type bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 10-minute walk max.
Yeah. Okay. And Antony, you've cycled, so would you say you're a little bit further?
Yes, I was thinking, and we haven't really talked about this beforehand because I hadn't properly looked at the map and thought about it.
This is part of the game, really, a bit of collaborative storytelling, let's say.
Yeah. Just as an idea, could Antony's dad run the leisure centre?
Sure, what, like a kind of British Empire type?
Well, I wasn't thinking of Mr. Britass in particular.
There's nothing more 90s than the British Empire, but yes.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, it's aged like milk, yes.
Sure,
I was thinking that we could live somewhere nearby there, and that kind of accounts a little bit, at least, for the pressure to be a sporting achiever.
Totally. Yeah, okay, yeah, your dad runs the leisure centre, so... yeah, maybe you live just in that kind of general area, just over the road or something.
Sounds good.
Sure. Sorry, that's tickled me quite a lot.
As long as you don't turn the dad character into a Mr. Britass type, that's fine.
No, I'm not going to do that. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that this guy's got to be intimidating enough to actually inflict, like... Antony's, like, running scared a little bit and having to do what's being told. Like, Mr. Britass never had that about him, I don't think.
Well, all right. So you're all each sort of heading off then. It's not a big stretch to say that Antony would be going a similar direction to Sora, but he's gone off on his bike. So yeah, you've sort
Run away from me.
Absolutely, beat red as he goes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just have a series of scenes where we introduce you to your families then as you're heading home. Unless there's anything you want to be stopping off on the way home at all.
No, I think Hazel and Laurel might need to have a chat.
Okay. Well, we'll start with that then. So you're walking home. It's not a long walk, so you're pretty much just kind of coming out of the school and kind of heading up the main road really towards the railway station. So not a long walk. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Laurel is there. What would you like to say to her?
Laurel, are you okay? You seem to be more jumpy than usual.
Yeah, I'm not that jumpy. I just want to get home. I have.
You wouldn't be having somewhat odd things starting to happen, would you?
No, I mean, what do you mean odd?
Okay, that's fine. Then I imagine Laurel is then pretty disconcerted and a little
bit, yes. I mean, if you want to sort of, I mean, do you believe her when she says she's not having any problems, or what do you think?
Alright. Sorry, I need to quickly check what I've got for...
So if you're doing an empathise check, I mean, it depends. You don't have to do the check if you don't want to. If you want to just take it at face value, no sixes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, she's tough to read. Really. Yeah. She definitely doesn't look happy to be having that kind of conversation with you. Let's say, but you can't tell whether she's telling the truth or not. It might just be sort of a little bit of sort of tween awkwardness, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hazel doesn't want to ask.
Don't really
too
want
much.
to pry. Yeah.
Doesn't really want to go, okay, I'm asking because this.
Yeah.
Because then that involves going, this thing is happening.
Yeah, she definitely, let's say then that she definitely doesn't, you can't tell if she's telling the truth or not, but she definitely doesn't seem like, she's not laughing it off. It's more that you get the feeling she just doesn't want to talk about it.
I think she's going to leave it at that and
just sort of see what happens next with that one, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now then, this is up to you guys. I think we'll have a scene with each of you as you get home. Then we can stick with Hazel and Laurel, or we can go with one of the others. Who wants to do what?
I will probably. Sora will go home. In terms of her mum, so she'll probably just go straight up to her room and start doing homework, and then pretty much in silence, and then go work on a car that she's working on in a garage, and that's it really.
Okay, so you'd say Sora's not close with her mum at all, really?
No, her dad died last year, so
still working through some stuff.
For some reason it's broken down the communication and relationship, so they sort of live separately.
Okay, so as you get home, your mum is in the kitchen, but you sort of pass her by without saying anything, shall we say?
Yeah.
And head up to your room. When you still nothing said while you're doing your homework and that, but when you head down to the garage to work in the car, there is a sandwich waiting for you on the side. But mum, you can hear the sound of the TV next door, but she doesn't say anything to you as you pass.
Sora will take the sandwich.
Yeah.
Gladly. Yeah.
It's peanut butter.
Peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. And then she will just continue to work on the car.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can I get I just get a tech tinker check from you? What are you trying to do on the car? Just sort of idly kind of taking bits apart and putting them back together?
Yeah, just completely idly. I think she knows a fair amount at this point, but it's a new endeavour.
Okay, so tech tinker for you is you've got 5 in tech and 3 in tinker, so 8d6 for that.
8. Ooh.
I see 1 6 in there, so yeah, that is a success. Yeah, I mean, you just kind of, you spend your evening then, at least early evening, working idly on, it's your dad's car, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got a door to one side that you sort of I don't know, you've taken the whole door off and you've been kind of working on something on the frame. I don't know cars.
I don't know cars either.
I don't even drive. I'm just sort of like, I guess there's a door in the car. I've been in a car.
Let's just say I'm under the hood.
Yeah.
Where the engine is.
Yeah, you're tinkering away. You change a spark plug. Sounds like a thing. Yeah. But you do a good job on that.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. They, doing quite well at not getting grease on the sandwich as well as you eat that. But yeah, okay, so that's kind of your evening, I guess. All right, Antony then. So you cycle home.
As soon as he gets through the door, he's going to chuck his kit bag in for the wash, make sure that's ready for the next day. Parents aren't home yet because they're both working, so he's going straight upstairs to take a shower and then get straight down to homework and studying, because if he isn't doing that when they come through the door, then they're not going to be happy.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you've kind of got the timing on this down to a sort of a science at this point. Like you say, your life is very regimented, and you're definitely sort of you're kind of only a couple of questions into your homework when the door opens and your mum and dad walk in. And your mum doesn't really say anything. She walks through, she sort of pats you on the head as she passes. Your dad says, "Hard at work then, son. Like to see it."
Yeah, Dad. Yeah, just getting my geography homework done.
What's an oxbow lake?
It's like a particular like shape of lake, isn't it, Dad?
And how were they formed?
Oxes.
Gonna have to work harder than that, son. I didn't raise no failure.
All right, Dad. All right. I'll look that one up. It's not on this test, but
Don't hurt to revise. And how are you doing at football? Still top of the team?
there's kind of like a visible lightening of Antony's mood at the mention of something that he can actually be positive about. Oh, I'm doing all right with that, Dad. I was running circles around Matt earlier.
Good. Well, Matt's dad, he don't take it all as seriously as I do, does he? Him and me, we were at school together. Bit of a lazy boy then.
Doesn't seem like anybody else does take it as seriously as you.
Well, they just don't. They don't understand, do they? You're going to be the shining example of what a real man raises his son to be like.
Yeah.
Physically strong and mentally strong.
Yeah, of course, Dad. I'm not going to let you down.
Yeah, better not. Right then, dinner. So yeah, he kind of stumps off into the kitchen, where you can sort of smell now that your mum is putting some food on. Would you say Antony's made his own dinner, or?
Oh no, he's not allowed.
He's not allowed.
This is very much like a controlled household. The mum is very house proud, and only she gets to touch anything like that simply because she doesn't trust her son.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, you are getting your homework out of the way before dinner, which you can now smell is on the way. So Hazel and you and your sister arrive back at your house near to the train station. The lights are mostly out, but they often are these days. There's just the flickering light of the television in the front room as you come up to the front door. The front door is locked as you arrive, but your mum seems to be locking it more and more often these days. Do you let yourself in, and you find yourself in your hallway?
Hazel looks at Laurel and like, do you want to just go upstairs, or do you want to check on Mum first?
I just want to go. I just want to go upstairs. I want to read my book.
Okay, on you go. And Hazel dumps her school bag in the hallway, and then turns to go in and speak to her mum.
Okay, so your mum is sat in an armchair. Is your dad still in the picture? I know we didn't really cover this in character creation, did we?
No, I don't think so. He's not around.
Okay. Yeah. There's a few families in town seem to be single parent. As a part of the sort of unsettled nature of what's been going on, sort of just in general for the town, it does seem more than you would expect that, single parents and things like that. It's not necessarily a sinister thing. It's just something that you've noticed, and your mother is not an exception to that. She kind of looks up as you, with a sort of slight start as you enter the room. Oh, Hazel, you're back from school early, aren't you?
No, that's the end of the day, but we're both back, so just letting you know that we're back in the house.
Oh, okay. Her eyes have already gone back to the television now. You look at the clock on the wall, and the clock is right. You get the feeling she's maybe been sat in this chair for most of the afternoon. There's, it's about, by the time you get back, it's about 3:30, 4 o'clock. There's some quite cheesy 90s game shows playing.
Wipeout,
Blockbusters.
Blockbuster, I think.
Was Going for Gold still going?
God, I think Going for Gold might have still been going.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, she's watching one of those. What was the other one? Catchphrase,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've watched a lot of Catchphrase recently. It's very fresh in my mind.
Catchphrase is on. Let's say Catchphrase is on.
Okay.
She loves
You've got to come up with a terrible Roy Walker joke then.
Yeah. Say what you see.
Now from you, Linda.
Yeah, your mother loves a bit of Roy Walker. Never one to miss a show. So her eyes are already back on the television. So, do you want me to make you some tea?
It's okay, Mum. I've got it.
Okay. Mine's milk and 2 sugars.
Yep, I know. That's fine.
She's making no signs of, she's not even attempting to get up and leave the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That night, after each of you is home and darkness envelops the town, the kind of sickly kind of yellow glow of the street lamps is sort of very much visible through curtains and things. But on the horizon, you can still see the kind of slightly red, slightly kind of turquoisey kind of background glow of the Wessex reactor towers. Several kilometres distant, but to the northwest, sort of an ever-present kind of glow. But you've all grown up sort of in the shadow of this. Tonight, though, there is a massive thunderstorm as you all are home, and it's big. It keeps all of you awake as you go, going on for hours and hours and hours. Just as you think you're dropping off to sleep, there's another crash, and it's probably, I would say, 1, 2 in the morning before it dies down, and then the sound of rain on your windows as the storm moves off. Morning comes around. Pulling open curtains and things, you can see it seems to be very grey out still, which isn't an unheard of thing in this town. It's generally can be quite a gloomy place sometimes, but there's a slight sort of post-storm sort of, it feels like there's still like electricity in the air, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Again, can't really put your finger on it, but it just, doesn't seem like it's going to be a particularly nice day out, let's put it that way. Antony, you're awake, I would say, would you say fairly early? You got a regular routine?
Bright and breezy. He's got a paper round. Ideally, I didn't put this past you, but
okay, yeah, no.
What do you think of that? That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, so you're up, and the roads are very wet, but you're still out in them. You wouldn't dare disobey your dad, and not show the work ethic. Let's say. Yeah,
absolutely zombified. He's just using what little energy he's managed to recoup during that terrible night of sleep to get around the town and deliver the bag full of papers, the 30 or 40 papers he's got to deliver.
So yeah, your papers are waiting for you. You cycle slightly up to the high street. They're waiting for you on the step of the sort of newsagents, and you start your run. Now, normally there's still a few people around on the streets this time. It's early, it's preschool time, but there's normally quite a few people around. Seems a little quiet today, I will say. Might be down to the storm, but people that you would still expect to be out. Not really a huge, not a sign of me. You normally see Mr. Butler, the milkman, doing his round. No sign of him. It's not to say it's completely deserted. There's 1 or 2 people, and you can see some lights on in houses and sort of signs of some movement, especially when you drop off the papers. But just seemed a little, even for this town, eerily quiet, let's say.
Well, Anthony's definitely taken note of that through the haze of sleep.
Would you say you go straight to school from doing the run?
The second the papers are delivered, he's got just enough time to go off from the last stop, get in school from there, and then straight to it.
Okay. Hazel, you're awake, and your mum, it seems as she didn't fall asleep in the chair or anything, but there's a couple of bowls of cereal waiting for you and your sister on the table as you get up, but it seems your mum has just sort of stayed in bed mostly, and the two of you make your way down the road to the school. Now, with you, it's special because you have the extra things going on, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So, without immediately laying it out for everybody, what problem? It's up to you, actually. What is if you want to sort of go into what specific thing Hazel has had happening?
Hazel has been waking up each morning, and there's always blood somewhere on her bedding. Like, it started off occasionally being a couple of drops on the duvet cover at near her feet, and it's gradually been working its way up each morning, getting closer to her face. And it's not there yet, and this has taken a couple of years for it to move. But she was about the same age that her little sister is now when it started.
Right.
So this is what she's trying to get from Laurel if this has started.
Okay,
But
all right.
her sister's quite closed off and took their mum changing really badly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your sister is very much like you say, she doesn't share a lot, let's say.
Yeah.
She tends to kind of like to have her head in a book and not really...
Yeah.
Can I get actually, I don't know, is it mind empathise? I think that's what we did before, yeah. Can I get another mind empathise off of you then, as you're walking into school with your sister? That actually is dependent on whether you're looking to see what sort of state she's in.
Yeah. She's definitely... feels like their mum isn't able to pay any attention. And she doesn't mind so much looking after herself.
Yeah.
But looking after a 12-year-old is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
for a
she's just
teenager.
feeling a bit of responsibility there, that unwanted, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a 6 there. Your sister, I mean, she's hard to read at most times, but she does seem a little bit, I wouldn't say freaked out, but unsettled, we could say. You don't know without asking whether this is just down to lack of sleep from the storm, but yeah, she's definitely got a look in her eyes of something is not normal.
Did you sleep at all, Laurel?
Her head kind of not whips around, but she's a little bit sort of yeah, I know, yeah, I slept. It's a little bit, the storm's bad.
Yeah, it was. It was quite unpleasant. Okay. If the answer to this is no, forget I ever asked you, okay?
Okay.
Are you finding anything on your bedding?
You kind of notice her eyes sort of kind of go a little bit wide for a second in response to your question. She sort of shakes her head and says, no, I mean, what would I find on my bedding?
Are you sure? If you start finding something showing up on the bedding, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Don't say to Mum, because I'm not convinced she knows what day of the week it is. But tell me, okay?
Okay. All right, I will. But nothing's appeared. I mean, nothing.
Do I believe her?
That's a good question. Well, you make another mind empathize roll. This is the equivalent of the insight check, I guess. Oh, so close, 20. But no, 3 5s, no 6s. You don't know whether you believe her or not. She definitely seems to be a little bit on edge, but it's not immediately obvious that she's, lying about this. She just seems on edge.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sora, you live quite close to the school, so not a long walk into town for you. You are used to, however, as you're leaving a house, it's always it's an older man who lives over the street with his wife. He's always getting his paper whenever you're leaving the house, and you do notice as you're leaving to go to school, the paper is there, so you guess that Antony's been by, but no lights on in the house, no sign of the old man or his wife.
Notice that it hasn't been collected, sort of thing, as usual.
Yeah, I mean, he might have overslept. He might have, it could be any number of things. But you it's just one of those things that you notice, oh, okay, normally I see a guy there where as you're leaving the house. So it doesn't worry you, really. You know, it's not like, oh, he's missed an appointment. It's just you've gotten so used to sort of the odd coincidence that he's always getting his paper as you're leaving the house, and there's just no sign of movement there.
Yeah, so Sora raises an eyebrow. She walks past. But Sora's usually late to school, so she puts it out of her mind quite quickly.
But you live the closest to school, so you're always the latest. Is that the...
I think I have more time than I do.
Yeah. So yeah, you're a little bit late. Antony's bike, you see, is already there on the bike racks as you rock up to the front entranceway of the school. You're not like late for class, but you're just the latest arrival, let's say. Okay, so I think we're cut to the assembly hall first thing in the morning, and it appears a little thin on the ground today, I will say. This isn't the most, I mean, Twynham-on-Sea is not the most populous of towns, so it's not, the sort of the hugest sort of. It's not an incredibly huge number of people at the school, but it does appear like a few people haven't turned up, and even on the side of I would say especially on the side of the teachers, it appears that there's a few absentees, shall we say. The headmaster is still there though, giving his usual sort of moralizing kind of assembly speech, which just sort of today just seems to be kind of based on like, right now, okay, we're getting towards the end of term, but now is not the time to start slacking off just because the summer is nearly with us. Need you all to put in the hard work that I know you're capable of. All this time he's kind of shooting occasional sort of angry looks to kids in the back who are sort of not really paying attention and that, but you get the feeling he doesn't really want to break the momentum of his speech that he's giving. And so with it being so close to summer, we are going to in fact actually I think do something different today, as several of the faculty have come down with ailments. So all of Year 11's A and B will be folded into each other, and Year 9 A and B will also be folded into each other. But your lessons will go on as planned. That will do. Have a good day, everybody. And yeah, so looking around, it does look like about half the number of students in your year are missing.
This is really weird.
I know. Where is everyone?
I mean, yeah, there was a big storm, but if it was just a thunderstorm, then...
Do you think the storm's related, or do you think they all just got really drunk last night? The teachers, I mean.
Well, most of the adults around here seem to, so that wouldn't be that surprising. But there's a lot of kids off as well.
All right.
Is our music teacher from the day before present, or are they off?
Yeah, Mrs. Tracy is here. Still looking her usual sort of, quite sort of looking like she's been through the wars, kind of stressed out state. But yeah, she's here.
Okay.
While we're looking around at the other teachers in the room, is Mr. Brewster in the school?
He initially appears absent, but just as the headmaster's speech kind of wraps up, he sort of enters through a side door and sits down. So he's looking a little bit flustered, but he sits down at his chair and sort of kind of looking around like, what have I missed, sort of thing.
Okay, half listening to the girls talk, then Antony's taken note of that and noticed that he's there looking a little tired, and perhaps Auntie's going to have a little chat with him later to see if he too suffered the night, as Mr. Brewster's his confidant.
Gonna say, oh man, we should totally be allowed to have the day off.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I could do with it. And Antony kind of rubs his eyes, looking very, very tired.
Yeah, I mean, none of you got a great night's sleep with the storm, but yeah, I mean, just based on the number of absences, you would guess more like just based on the general look of everybody in the room, nobody had a great night's sleep. One or two people look like they're about to drop, but they're just sort of, doing that thing where you just kind of aggressively blinking and opening your eyes, as to try and not fall asleep.
Yeah, that kind of like between eye rubs, it's definitely a lot of that kind of like deep inhalation to be like, Okay, right. Try and pull myself together for another 30 seconds, and then we'll do it again in another 30.
Yeah. There's one or two people doing that, and even as you look, as I said, I should probably list who's missing in the teachers, really, shouldn't I? So your normal maths teacher appears to be missing. The science teacher is also missing. The English teacher is there, but looks fairly tired. Let's say the headmaster's there, his normal state. The Mr. Brewster, the sports PE teacher, he's turned up and he's looking kind of tired. The music teacher is there. The art teacher is there. Doesn't look that tired, but generally you would know is quite a chilled out person anyway. So possible any kind of naps were had at some point. There's one or two sort of other kind of sort of lower sort of not specific kind of teachers, but you do see one or two who are known as like when that person's off, they cover that kind of not like full-time substitute teachers, but they kind of just generally sort of fill in here and there, maybe take do half of the history classes and things like that. I'm trying to think if there's a term for it. But yeah, I mean, the faculty is some members are missing, and the ones who are there generally, by and large, look kind of tired as well. But if we like, then so yeah, we can cut to your conversation with Mr. Brewster. You catch up with him as everybody's kind of filing out of assembly.
Morning, Mr. Brewster. You all right?
Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Oh, I'm tired, sir. I had a horrible night's sleep last night after all my homework was done. I had to get up and do my paper round after the rain and everything. It was proper slick outside.
You got to be careful out there. We don't want you to hurt yourself.
Oh, thanks, sir. It's always good to know you're looking out for me. I was just wondering, like, half the school seems to be missing. Do you think it was because everybody, like, it seems a bit much to, like, not come in because you didn't sleep properly? I mean, it's not a good excuse, is it?
You never know. Might be some bug going round. But, yeah, it does look a little bit thin on the ground today, I'll give you that. But give the rest of you a chance to shine even brighter.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I just wanted to, like, have a quick word because, I don't know, we haven't got PE today, so I thought I'd say hello.
Well, at least you made it in. You're doing better than some.
Oh, thanks, sir. I always put the effort in.
Yeah, I know you do. Don't let them keep you down.
Yeah. And with that, he's going to kind of give a little nod and it's time for class.
Okay.
Are you going to come to that roller disco then? Did you ask your dad?
Oh, I totally forgot. I was busy doing my homework and Dad didn't, like, he came in his usual kind of mood and everything. I didn't really want to ask him about that kind of stuff. What time was it again?
Yeah, the roller disco, it was planned on the Saturday night at the leisure centre that your dad owns.
Oh no, I didn't ask Dad because, like, he works at the leisure centre, like, he runs the place and everything, and I don't think he's going to be happy with me trying to, like, go out at night because he wants me working and everything. He'd like, I've got to catch up on some of my English coursework and everything, and well, I mean, I could try and maybe meet you outside for a little while or something, but I don't think I'm going to be able to go in.
Oh, come on, Anthony. If he works there, at least he's got an eye on you. That's got to be something he'd like.
Yeah, well, you try telling him that. He doesn't seem to want to care what I'm doing right now. He just cares about the job I'm going to get in a couple of years.
Oh, come on. You got to enjoy yourself sometime.
Well, I'm not going to make any promises. And you can see Anthony getting a bit kind of like tense about the fact that there's very strong conflict being created here between what he feels like he has to do and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask him. Do you think he could say no to me?
I don't know. It's been a long time since you've seen each other. Like, you haven't been around to my house since we were like 8.
That's true. I'll just try and come, okay? And she...
I'll try to do what I can. Are you going, Hazel?
As long as I can get home afterwards.
You ever skated before?
I haven't tried it for years, and I will probably go flying, but I could try. To be honest, anything that gets me out of the house is a good thing.
There's a slight shift in Anthony's demeanour, as internally at least he's kind of going, I'm a really good skater actually. Like, I'm really good at that. Like, I've like, you've seen me back in the day, haven't you? Like, Sora, like, you've seen me like rushing about and what have you. We used to do that down the back alley around the back of your house.
He's a mad skater. He's not lying.
And there's kind of like a look of pride on his face of like, yeah, achievement.
All right.
Radical. So, okay, I think what I'll say then is, for the rest of the school day then, it's kind of a day of teachers kind of filling in for the ones who are missing. Not a whole lot of work is getting done, really, especially with the sort of the reduced class numbers and the sort of general sort of kind of odd feeling of like people are missing, but nobody really seems to be... A lot of questions sort of being quietly asked of other people, but nobody really knows. But they just kind of seem to be sort of whiling away the day, because you get the feeling there's really not enough working staff in the school, but they didn't really want to close it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the day tends to seems to sort of pass sort of fairly, I don't know about quickly, but sort of easily, let's say, in terms of workload and that. After school, as it sort of the day finishes for most students, as you're coming towards the end of the year, your exams are pretty imminent. So you have a scheduled revision kind of hour sort of tacked on to the end of your day. And there's a few rows of desks you're all sort of sat at, kind of books open in front of you. Again, it's still the same as it was this morning. Quite a chunk of the students in your year are missing. And the revision session has been presided over by Mr. Brewster, the sports teacher, who's just sort of idly kind of sat at a desk at the front, just sort of reading a sports magazine. I guess. What does
Football
sports...
Weekly.
Yeah.
What
He's
is...
reading Roy of the Rovers.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Jesus. That's me showing my age a little bit.
So would you say the three of you are all working hard at your revision? I would say it's probably not. I mean, it's an organised revision session, but as per usual, there's a couple of people who aren't really doing a lot of work. And that, are you all kind of heads down getting on with it, or what would you say?
Sora's pretty restless.
Yeah, not really her scene.
Yeah, Hazel is reading through her stuff, but she's also aware that Laurel's having to kick about until she's finished in the revision.
So she's not really particularly focused.
Yeah, for some reason, Mum doesn't trust Laurel with a key to get in.
Right, okay.
But, like, it means that she's stuck in school, hanging around waiting.
So you're sort of conscious of the fact that your sister's probably not that happy about the whole waiting around sort of thing.
Yeah, like I can see her through the door. She's in the corridor and just
bit
kicking about.
of clock watching.
Very
going
unimpressed.
I raise my hand because I've just had enough of just staring at the clock. Mr. Brewster?
Yes, Sora, what is it?
Do you know why hardly anyone's in today?
I think some people are ill. Some people probably couldn't make it in for travel reasons. Maybe the storm brought down a couple of trees. I haven't really looked into it.
Sora crosses her arms. What did the headmaster tell you?
He told me to watch you to make sure that you do your work.
Oh, I mean about why everyone's missing.
I know what you mean. Get on with it.
At this point, Antony goes... and he's clearly leaned hard into his hand as he's kind of looking over his book. And he drifted off for a moment.
Oh, so you weren't putting it like that was an actual...
No, that's 100% actually, like, asleep, holding his head in his hand.
Okay, I kind of want to see if there's a check I can make to see if you can hold your head up. So
that's why I'm leaving it at that moment, because that's the cue for him to either slip and go, huh, or for somebody to go, oi.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flip a coin, and we'll do it that way, because I don't think that's really that's not really a skill, is it? Not being able to fall over. So heads or tails?
Heads. I don't slip off of my hand.
Okay, so you slip off of your hand, and you slip and you just catch the front of your forehead on the desk. So not like a full-on like elbow out from under you, crack on the desk, but kind of a little bit of that going on. You just kind of like, oh god, and yeah, you were you didn't realise you were drifting off, and the loud noise you make, you kind of, would you say you kind of react sort of like loudly?
Oh, there's a definite and then he tries to look like he was working all along and glances around the room to meet whatever stairs are coming back.
Sure, make a sneak check for me to see if you got away with it.
No, Sora won't let you get away with that.
That's what I'm thinking. Sorry, what am I rolling as?
Sneak. So this is a body sneak. So you got 66 for this one.
66.
There's one on there. Again, I've just remembered I'm meant to be telling you guys the difficulty as we go, but yes. I think, this isn't a particularly difficult thing, but you got one success, but I mean, one success on 6 sixes. 66s. Okay, let's say by and large you managed to conceal it, but those sat closest to you definitely kind of, and whoever sat behind you definitely noticed you going like face palm down onto the down onto the desk.
I wanna can I try and charm the teacher to give me more information?
Sure, yeah. Let's try that. So
first, before I make
perfect
my
distraction for Anthony to get away with this.
yeah. So charm is a just opening my thing. That is a heart charm check. So that'd be 76 for you. 2 successes. Yeah. Okay. So I was going to say this was going to be a difficult check. So that is what you needed.
Oh, yay!
So what are you saying to him?
So I stand up from my seat. I'm like, Mr. Brewster, we're all really scared. Can't you just tell us something?
Well, what do you want from me, Sora? I only know what I know, and it seems pretty quiet in town today. That's all that's all I know. I mean,
we're not kids anymore. Come on, you can just tell us what's going on.
I can't tell you what I don't know, but like, I don't know, maybe space aliens took them. Maybe everybody decided just let's take a half day. I don't know.
Aha, very funny.
Anthony sniggers.
She shoves him. Come on, it. They
must
have told you.
The mental imagery of her just shoving him out of his desk chair. But, sorry to interrupt.
Anime shove.
Hey, do you want to do a body roll and see if you forced me out of the chair?
Yes. 3 and what was it? Move.
I guess this would be body force, really.
Oh no, it's not very good for Sora.
So 3.
Yeah, I think you're going to be safe in the chair.
3d6. 2 6s. Yeah, no, Antony is very much still kind of a little bit sort of. I mean, you dozed off and you're not really feeling with it, and you laughed and completely caught you by surprise. You suddenly get shoved, and your whole chair, you're still in it, falls over.
Okay, then embarrassed even more so, and definitely not getting away with it this time. And so he's gonna have to get up and
everybody's look round,
basically blush and try and put his head down and sit back in the chair quietly and not laugh.
Sora is like blushing too. She's like, "Oh my god, I didn't mean to do it that hard." I'm sorry, Antony. Anyway, back to business, Mr. Brewster. I'm not letting this go.
Look, Sora, I don't know what's going on.
What, so the headmaster's told you nothing? You've got nothing?
I'm sure he doesn't know either. A bunch of people didn't show up. We tried calling him. If people don't answer their phones, what are we supposed to do?
What if something really bad's happened?
Well, let's just hope it hasn't.
So Hazel is paying attention to Sora and Mr. Brewster.
Mm-hmm.
Does she believe that he doesn't know anything and the headmaster didn't tell him anything at all?
That's a good question. Can I get another mind empathize?
Oh, damn it.
Seems pretty believable.
Reroll.
He seems earnest. He doesn't seem like he's hiding anything. You can push it into a reroll if you like, but you will take a condition.
I guess if he knew, then if he wouldn't tell us, then that would probably be for a good reason. So,
Oh, come on, Hazel. I didn't think you were a sheep. Well, this
hey, we can go investigate on our own.
way.
What if nobody really does know what's going on?
Maybe I've been watching too much telly. But
Too much of the X-Files.
Yeah. So you were big in. Sorry, you were big into the X-Files, which has only just finished its first season.
yeah. So I can feel a conspiracy around here. And it's not because I've been watching too much X-Files.
Of course it's not.
Are you still stood up?
Yes, like a politician.
Okay, then Anthony's going to kind of tug on your... What kind of uniforms are we wearing? Is it a shirt or a blazer or...
Blazer.
Yeah, tugs on your blazer sleeve to kind of be like, sit down, please, end this. You're killing me here. Brewster's my friend.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean... And she sits down. No, but is any of our mates off?
Well, there's no sign of Kev, the goalkeeper, on the football team. But the other player, Matt, was there. I don't think we've really named anybody else. But, yeah. I'd say about half of the class is missing.
We go to Kev's house after school.
Well, yeah, I guess I can drop by, like, on my way home. Like, we could just give him a knock and everything and find out. Like, we
you,
can see
Hazel?
what's up with him.
Want to come, Hazel?
I don't know. I need to get my little sister home first. As long as it doesn't take too long, that should be okay.
Right, we've got our team ready to investigate. Sora puts her hand up. Yes.
Kind of, Anthony gives a confused look to Hazel as if to say, a team? Investigate? What are we doing?
Kev's house, you would know, is a little bit further on from Hazel's, but in that same general direction. It's a little bit further. It's the other side of the railway tracks. That's not meant to symbolise anything. Over on the other side of the tracks.
You're saying he's poor.
No, there's
That's what you're saying.
there's quite literally a railway line there.
Okay, in which case, I'm going to let Laurel in the house first.
Mm-hmm. We can cut to that. So
Yeah. So we branch off quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I unlock the door for her and just tell her it's probably worth checking on Mum, but I don't think she's going to ask where I am, so it's fine. And remember, please tell me if weird things start happening.
Yeah.
A little bit
I
concerned now.
Okay, all right. I will. And she kind of closes the door behind her. So it takes about another 10, let's say, about another 10-15 minutes for the three of you to find your way to Kev's house. Now, Kev lives on a kind of a fairly new-ish sort of housing development over the road from Quartley General Hospital. The hospital itself is kind of old. It's been there for decades and decades. But this is kind of a sort of... I wouldn't call it like a housing estate, but it's sort of like that. There's a lot of very similar-looking newish build houses, but you have, even though you don't really hang out with them too much anymore outside of playing football, Antony, you have been there before, so you know where you're going. You lead the way.
All right, Kev's house is just down there. Right, I'll go up and give him a knock. I mean, it's been a while. I wonder if his dad's even going to recognise me.
Got a better chance of recognising you than the rest of us, so
we'll approach the front door and go through the front garden and what have you, and give a rap on the door.
Mm-hmm. The front garden is copiously decorated with gnomes. You get the feeling it's somebody around here's hobby. Knocking on the door then, doesn't appear to be any answer, and then you don't see any lights on.
Is there a car in the drive? Or, I mean, on the street, depending on however this house is laid out?
There's a sort of a kind of couple of years old, but not that new looking brown Ford Escort in the driveway.
Okay. So, from the lack of reaction, Anthony turns around and says, well, that's really weird, because his dad's car's right there. Like, I don't know, like, where would they have got his school day? Everybody was supposed to be in. Turns around and gives another harder knock on the door.
You wait for a couple of seconds. no response.
Oh wait, Sora walks up. Shall we look through the windows?
Yeah, let's have a look. And Antony crouches down and has a quick look through the letterbox to start with.
Yeah, can I get an investigate check from you then?
Okay, so
That is mind investigate. So that is 5d6 for you. There, I see a 6 in there, so yeah, that's a success. Yeah, again, all the lights seem to be off, but it's still kind of daylight. It's like I say, it's kind of a grey day. It looks like it's been sort of... Yeah, throughout the day it's kind of showered a little bit here and there. But yeah, the lights are all off inside, but you can still see not particularly nicely decorated hallway. There is some... there's no sign of anyone. You can't see anybody from your viewpoint of the letterbox, but you can see some post on the mat.
Hey Hazel, go look through the window.
I'm shorter than you. I'm not fine. Whatever. Walks over
Team?
and just kind of goes up and tiptoes slightly, looks in.
Okay, I was going to say the front windows have all got curtains drawn, but if you sort of head to the side of the building, kind of the driveway sort of goes a little bit up. You know the type. The house is there, and the driveway goes up to the side.
It's a newish estate. They're semi-detached houses.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got this little narrow gardeny bit leading up round the sides of the house.
Yeah.
Fine.
So yeah, you can kind of make your way up the side of the building. Like I say, you take a couple of seconds to try and kind of see if you can see anything through the curtains at the front, but you can't. So making your way kind of up the side of the driveway, you can see if you stand on your tiptoes, you can just about get a view into a side window, which seems to be of the kitchen. So can I get an investigate check there? I see 2 6s, so yeah. So still lights are off, just because of the lighting at the back of the house, the way the sun is sort of positioned. There's not particularly high visibility in there, but it looks as if somebody has sat at the kitchen table, but they're not moving at all. They're sat in darkness.
Do they look okay? Or did they look...
You can't really tell, it's more of just sort of like a silhouette.
Okay.
It looks like they've got both hands on the table and they're just kind of sat there.
Okay, I walk back round to the front and I'm like, so there's someone in the kitchen, but they're not moving. I'm assuming they're alive, but they don't really look okay.
That's weird. And Antony kind of crouches down again to the letterbox and shouts through the letterbox, Kev, you in there?
No response.
No, I'm pretty sure it was an adult I saw.
Yeah, it looked to be... I mean, it's tough to tell because they're sat down, but yeah, they look a little larger, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any movement or any reaction to the fact that I shouted through the letterbox? Was there any sound inside?
No, you don't hear any response at all.
Do we have to climb over a fence to get in the garden?
Yes, you would, but it's not particularly high. I would still need a check from you, but it would be like a 1 success needed check rather than like it's not super difficult, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
or
I'm
without
thinking...
announcing herself, just starts going for it.
Okay, can I get a body move check from you? For the climb, so that is 4d6 for you.
Hey.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, you without a huge amount of difficulty managed to kind of vault over this fence. Like I say, it's not particularly high, and you find yourself in the back garden. More gnomes back here, and a little kind of water feature. A couple of koi fish in there, just sort of.
The gnomes are staring at me. She shouts back.
Antony's kind of run up to the other side of the fence and shouts over, "What are you doing, Sora?"
Come on, let's have a look. See if he's alright. What if his dad's hurt or something?
You can open the side gate from where you are now if you want to.
Somebody in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, but we've got to see if they're alright. And she opens the door. Come on, scaredy cat.
Antony kind of, again, looks around, looks towards Hazel to gauge what her reaction to this is.
I mean, they might be hurt, but I look around. Is there anyone else, like, outside on the street?
No, it seems a little quiet. I mean, you can hear the sounds of cars moving in the distance. It's not like it's not completely empty around here. You can hear, like I say, cars back on the main road and that, but there's nobody kind of walking up the street or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so quiet, so... I mean, there's no one around, so, like, this is probably the best time to do it, I guess?
Do it. Kev's he didn't turn up to school today. Why are we breaking into his house because he didn't turn up to school? Anthony's looking at the two of you like, this is just getting really out of hand.
Because half of the town didn't turn up to anything today.
Yeah,
That's bizarre. Seriously, have you ever seen this bit of town so quiet?
Anthony kind of like, he's looking very panicked now, and he looks at his watch and sees the time and goes, oh my god, like I'm 20 minutes late already, like Dad's gonna find out that and he's clearly having a little bit of a meltdown in front of you.
Did you speak to your dad this morning? Did you see him?
No, he leaves before, like I'm out like doing the paper round, and he leaves while I'm out doing that. I don't normally see him in the morning.
Okay. Sora, was your mum in? Did you see her?
Was she DM?
Yeah, I mean, you heard him. I mean, would you say you probably didn't really say a lot to her, but you did hear her moving around?
I'm like, yeah, my mum's fine.
Okay, so the places where the kids are fine, the adults are fine. But from the looks of it, there's some houses where people just aren't fine. Doesn't that feel weird to you?
I guess like let's just like knock on the window or something and like see if they react, and like surely like that's just his dad or his mum or something. Like they can tell us what's going on. Like
that would be fine, and I'm sure they'd understand that we were worried about him. So
okay. Let's go and do that. Like, I'll knock on the window. Like.
Okay, are you going into the back garden to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, where you're at in the garden, it's kind of like a sliding door, like a glass panel sort of sliding door leading...
Oh no, not 90s sliding back doors.
Oh yeah.
I hated those.
And as you approach it, you can see very clearly, like the sliding door goes into the kitchen. You can see sort of sat at the table from this angle with their back to you, seeming to be in some kind of dressing gown, sat at the table with both hands flat on the table. They've got their head sort of leant forward, so you can't see their face from the angle you're at. That's kind of they're facing away from you. It looks, I mean, it's been a couple of years since you've seen him, but it looks to be Kev's dad. And he's just kind of like I say, sort of sat at the table, hands on it, with his head sort of bowed a little bit.
So Anthony knocks on the pane of glass and calls out, Mr. Noble, Mr. Noble!
Doesn't even move a centimetre, doesn't move at all. Completely still.
Turn around and look at the girls with a look of like a quizzical look of, well, I don't know.
We see, or is it just Antony that's looking?
No, you can probably see from here. Well, you can see. You're close enough that you can see the silhouette and that still. I mean, Antony's got a slightly better view from you. The window's a little bit reflective, but you can definitely see there's the guy there, and he doesn't respond to Antony's tapping and shouting.
Are we looking through the back door, or
Yes,
are we looking through the window?
I assumed the back sliding door. Like in the garden,
Yeah,
it's kind of
the
easier
sliding
to.
door.
It's like a sort of. It's like a floor to ceiling kind of sliding door, kind of glass thing that you can see through.
I press my hands up against the glass to look through. I'm like, does that look normal?
Well, he's not reacting.
I can't see his face. What this... it's not
Anthony
normal.
starts banging again, harder, and shouting, Mr. Noble, Mr. Noble! I'm Kev's friend, do you remember?
No response.
This is really weird. He should know me. Like he should be able to hear me at the very least. What the hell's going on?
Let's try it. This
Hazel is starting to freak out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And she has an idea in her head. She knows they know the layout of town. And it's like, wait. So Do you know how many of the people that were off live up this side of town?
Can I get a comprehend check from you, actually? I think that might be... Because you're kind of trying to put two and two together on this one, are you? To sort of... Yeah, I think comprehend... I know you're not trained in it, but you can do 4 dice mind one. There's a 6 on there. It does appear there are a few people that you noticed were missing are from up this end of town, but not exclusively. I know what you're thinking. This end is a lot closer to the nearby kind of Wessex Rect complex. At least it's in the direction of it, and it's sort of loop, but not exclusively. I mean, there's a couple of people missing who were, the opposite direction. I mean, you live closer to the loop than they do.
So it's quite spread out.
Yeah. That's not to say, like I said, that's not to say nobody from this end is missing. I mean, quite obviously, I mean, you're here, but yeah, that doesn't. There's not a huge sort of obvious correlation with that.
Okay.
I see where you're thinking on that, but yeah, it doesn't appear. It's not only people from this end of town that are missing.
So Sora's pretty determined, and she's going to reach for the back door handle to see if it's open.
Mm-hmm. It does appear to be unlocked.
Sorry.
Sora, really?
What if there's something wrong with him? We've got to help him.
Oh, I don't know. Like, let me at least take the lead, because he was probably going to react badly to some weird girl just walking in. And he kind of
protect me, are you, Antony? Are you going to protect me?
Antony bites his tongue, having called you weird.
Are you going to protect me, are you, Antony? Are you my
And then he kind of pokes his head through the opened door and says, "Mr. Noble," and steps into the room. Okay, so now you're in the room. You can see in between, as you sort of enter, you can see as he sat at the table, there's a plate in front of him, and you get a little closer, you can see it had on it what looks like the remains, not of like a breakfast or lunch, but kind of like, looks like last night's dinner. It's kind of dark in here, so you can't, visibility isn't amazing, at least until you turn the lights on. But it does look like the plate in front of him is sort of swimming in this kind of, I don't know, it could be sauce. It looks a little bit like dark gravy, if you know what I mean. And as you step around his form, you can see, you get a full look in his face, and there's streaks on his face of this same sort of dark black substance, which you realise can't be gravy. I mean, gravy doesn't do this. It looks like it's leaked from his ears, his eyes, his nose, and his mouth, and he's just there, motionless, with his eyes open. Antony freaks the hell out, grabs both of the girls by the shoulder, and kind of rushes back out of the room into the garden as quickly as possible.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time on Thursday the 26th of September with the next chapter of our Things from the Flood storyline, continuing where we just left off. So we hope you'll all tune back in for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at PretendWithDice, and you can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes or Apple Podcast user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd just really love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.